For this video, I've been sent this brass 460 by Totem models that needs some repair and tuning work done. So the most obvious thing that needs fixing on it is the valve gear here. It has a broken rivet, so I just need to fix that. But I guess the drive wheels also have some quartering issues, so I just need to kind of look through the thing and make sure that everything is operating as well as possible. And then when that's all done and it's running smoothly, the owner also wants me to modify the boiler backhead there just a little bit so that it will have a firebox light shining through it. So let's see what we've got here. So this one was manufactured by KSM. That's a factory I haven't heard of before. I mean, it looks really similar to a lot of other brass products out there, so should be easy enough to get into it. First I need to get the front truck off, which has a unique mounting method. The bar here mounts to the front of the pilot instead of towards the back. I haven't seen anyone do it that way before. And let's see what else we've got. A couple more small screws in the back. This one's also got a really nice paint job on it, so I definitely want to be careful not to damage that. I mean, I'm always careful about those kinds of things anyway, but you definitely don't want to damage a nice paint job on a brass model. Okay, that hole was, the screw was kind of behaving like the hole was a little bit stripped out, so I'll definitely check on that. There's something preventing the body from lifting off of there. Oh, I think I see. Ah, okay. So the piping going to these cylinders is actually part of the body. So I just need to real gently pry that out of there. Okay. Got that off of there. Huh. Looks like it has a constant light for the front. So that's just a, I'm guessing that's just a bridge rectifier there. For now, I think I just want to disconnect that. Looks like it's possibly been remotored. Yeah, normally the brass manufacturers don't use adhesive to hold the motors in, so there may have been some kind of a clamp, or maybe it was a small open frame motor in here. Not really sure. Gearbox looks like it's original though. Turns nice and free. Except for right there. Kind of stiffens up a little bit. So that's probably where the quartering issue that the owner of this model mentioned is at. Well, first things first, I'll fix the valve gear here. Let's see, the best way to do that is probably to just remove the valve gear assembly, which looks like is held on by these two screws. And then need to disconnect that from the drivers. Looks like they used tiny screws over here on each of these eccentrics. Although it also looks like they're soldered in addition to being screwed on. This one is soldered. This one is screwed in place, so maybe the screw stripped out on this one. Well, it's not backing out, so I'm sure the screw stripped out on this one. And then it was just soldered in place to keep it on there. Because this one is loosening normally. Oh, I see. That end of the crosshead guide is closed, so this Instead comes out that way. Okay. Well, I need to get this off, so I think I'll just unsolder that for now. So then I can pull that off and then just push back on and resolder it. Okay, I've got that apart now. And the original rivet is actually still in there. It's one of these kind of flush, flattened pins. And I can't actually get it pressed into the rod anymore, so that does have to be replaced with a new rivet. So to get that out of there, I'm going to have to grind the end of it. I just have to do that really carefully to make sure that there's no damage to the rods. So I'll work on low speed here. Old rivets out, and now I have things lined up with a new Bowser brass rivet there. Doesn't look quite as nice as the original silver rivets, but these are small enough parts that in most cases you really don't even notice the difference too much. There, that's flaring out pretty nicely now. You can see it right there. I might do just a touch more on there, but that's pretty good already. And there's that done. I've got the tolerance close in there, but it still moves freely. Now before I put all that back on, let's see how the mechanism itself is running with just the main side rods there. Okay, yeah, that does need some work. So yeah, let's see if that is a quartering issue or if it's something else. First thing I'll do is pull these rods here. Yeah, the gearbox is working just fine. And these wheels feel like they're mostly turning smooth. Okay, so it seems like the second and third axles are quartered with each other. It's just the geared axle that's off from the rest. So let's get that to a point where I can actually see the quartering of it. Might need to go this way a tiny bit. If I can get a good enough grip on there anyway. Still not quite. So I disconnected the gearbox so that I could turn all the wheels by hand and feel exactly what was going on. And I managed to get the tiny bit of binding that I found out of this rod here, but even after that, it was still kind of locking up a little bit. And then finally, just looking a little closer, I realized the problem was this brake detail here was actually has too tight of a fit between these two wheels. So all I really need to do is just shave a little bit of material off of here, and that should take care of it, because now that that's taken off, everything turns perfectly freely. Well, as long as the rods don't go out of place there. Yeah, that's turning really smooth now, so I just need to take care of that brake detail, and that should be all that this needs mechanically. Alright, so the brake detail on this side also had to be shaved down a little bit, but now it seems like everything is working smoothly. No more bind in there. And nothing crashes or locks up either when it's running at any sort of high speed like this. So Now I just need to do some track testing with it and make sure that everything really is working properly. Alright, so I just have the boiler fit loosely on there. And it's stalled. Oh, you know what? I did find that the left side piston rod is just a tiny bit short. And sometimes it drops out of there, so I might have to find a way to maybe extend that a little bit or see if I can adjust the cylinders back just a touch so that it doesn't come out of the hole, because it only just barely drops out. Oops, derailed. Let's try that again. No? Okay. For some reason, tinder keeps coming off the track. That time it stayed on. Nope. Okay. So I've got to fix something with the tinder too, but at least it seems like the engine itself is running all right now. Just need to figure out that one piston rod. Alright, I'm not 100% sure if this will work or not, but I tried lengthening the end of this just a little bit with some solder, because from the look of how this was cut, well, first of all, it was cut a little bit too short, but it was also cut with the pliers in this direction, from what I could find, so it was also kind of angled backward, and it would just fall out of the hole once it got to that back spot. So yeah, we'll see if this does the job. Okay, I think that actually did it. I've been running this for a while, just on the bench now, and so far it hasn't had a single dropout from the cylinder. Even backed up all the way, you can see it's, even though there's only the tiniest bit going into there, it's not coming out. And I did a little bit of additional work on the brake shoes since there was still a tiny bit of interference. So it seems like things are going to work now. So I'll just get the tender truck worked out and then get this back on the layout. Okay, so it is finally running well going forward. With the tender truck, I found out that the middle brace part was a little bit bent, so I straightened that out, but even after that it was still derailing just a little bit, so I tightened up the these trucks have equalizing side frames, so one of them is solid, the other one can do this. But it seemed like it was moving just a little too much, so I ended up tightening it completely and just having the tender truck flat, and it seems like that took care of the problem. So the only issue left is when I'm backing it into a curve. Because of how light this engine is, it seems like the spring tension for these drive wheels is just too much for it. And it's not sitting 100% flat either, so sometimes that back axle just kind of lifts off the track and it derails. So I guess what I need to do is either find a way to even these out a little bit in their fully sprung position, or possibly weaken the springs just a little bit. But like I said, as far as forward goes, it seems to be running pretty smoothly now. And that crosshead hasn't given me any problems at all, so I think that is fixed. Okay, so I couldn't show it on camera just because the operation was a little too delicate, but I took out each of the springs from the drivers. I clipped them down a little bit to weaken them or soften them. They're still long enough to push the bearings down the full length of their slots, but now the suspension is just soft enough that it's able to rest on all 6 drivers. As a result, it's now able to back onto the curve without derailing. There's something about how the gearbox is set up makes it so that the model is quieter going in reverse. I haven't been able to figure that out, but it is running well in both directions, so As long as everything is working well there, I think I'll just leave that alone instead of digging too far in, because this is already running really nicely. So now I'll just finish up with seeing if I can put the firebox light into there. Put the front truck back on, of course, and I think that'll be all the work I have to do with this one. Now that I know that things are running properly, I just need to install a firebox light in here. So to do that, you can see this is already modeled with the doors open, so I'm just going to drill a hole right in the middle of that. And maybe I can also file out the shape just a little more to match the shape of those doors. We'll see. I'm going to do all that off camera, of course, because I can't focus on that and the camera at the same time, and fully avoid damaging things around there. So there's that. Then for the light itself, the owner plans to have DCC and other stuff installed later, so all I'm going to do is put a 12-volt bulb just attached to the two motor leads here and have it pretty much just hanging in the middle. And then whatever is needed can be done with it after that. Okay, I've got the hole drilled in there, and then I've also got the light bulb installed on the back of here. It's just tacked in place between the motor leads so it can be easily removed for converting to DCC. And I dipped that into SP Daylight Orange, so it has kind of a fire glow to it. Should look pretty good. Okay, seems like it's working. All right, I've got everything back together and everything seems to be working, including the headlight there, which at first I thought it was burned out, but it turned out I just had it wired wrong. So fixed that, and now it's got its constant lighting again. And it runs pretty smoothly. I haven't had a single derailment ever since I made those minor modifications to the chassis. Not in any direction. It's been staying on the track consistently, 100% of the time. And the motor that's in here really doesn't have much torque at all. But it doesn't draw high amperage either, so it doesn't really make a lot of heat. So you mostly just don't want to stress out a motor like this too much. Some of these early can motors for repelling, they really didn't have a lot of torque to them. They were made more to be smooth, quiet, and efficient. So sometimes you just get that with models like this one. But it does have enough torque to still pull a realistic train along. I should be able to put about 10, 12 cars behind this, and it should pull it no problem. And speaking of freight cars, I've got 11 behind it now, all average size, average weight, and free rolling. And this seems to be about the limit for what this wants to pull, at least for a reasonable amount. I think it could handle a couple more, but this seems to be about the point where, just from the weight of the model, it starts to slip its wheels if you do anything more than a slow acceleration like this. So it's not a heavy puller, which means the motor size and torque that was used in here is just fine for it. It's up to full speed at 12 volts, and just fine.